Legends, welcome along to Here's Rodder's Reviews. I'm your host, Rodney Stewart. We're going to get into that episode 5 of Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm not going to give away major spoilers of this episode because I definitely want you to go and check this one out. This is absolutely phenomenal. Now, I don't care who you are or what your opinion is on Disney Star Wars. In all fairness, at the very beginning when we first heard the news that Lucas had sold Star Wars to Disney, we were all worried, and the prequel trilogy definitely split the fan base right down the middle. And if you love it, you love it. If you hate it, you hate it. There's no real middle ground in it. Well, for me, there's a few things in it I liked, and there's more things in it that I didn't like, but it is what it is. But it has to be said, whenever Disney does something right of Star Wars, they do it phenomenally right. And we got that with the season 2 finale of The Mandalorian. Absolutely brilliant. If you haven't seen that, definitely go and check it out as well. And the reason I keep saying that, people are like, oh, come on, if somebody's watching these videos, they're definitely going to have seen Star Wars at this point. And I know for a fact that it's not that long ago, well, 2 or 3 years back, maybe a little bit more, say 4, maybe 5 years ago, I actually had a friend in the office right here, sitting on that couch, watching the original trilogy for the first time. So there is quite a few people that might come across these videos that have never seen it. But I digress. This episode, phenomenal. What they have done incredibly well up to this point has been Darth Vader. We get to see the darkest side of that character yet in this episode, in my opinion, as far as the live action stuff goes. Now, we all know he's as evil to the core, and eventually he actually turns out to be the hero of the original trilogy. But at this point in time, he is dark, and we never ever got to see how dark and how strong he is really until this episode. Now, there's been bits and pieces throughout the original trilogy that demonstrated it, but to actually see it on screen, phenomenal. I was, every time Vader's turned up, he's done something awesome in this series so far. And what he does do at the end of this is essentially the whole episode is Obi-Wan, he's rescued Leia. They've got back to this planet, to the people that was helping them. There's a whole load of refugees there that's trying to escape, so the whole episode is them trying to get away from the Empire. And we get like a Empire Strikes Back vibe in this episode, where the Empire's in orbit. They're going to start a bombardment on this little base, and the tracker that was in the little droid of Princess Leia's, that looks unbelievably like one of the little robots from Batteries Not Included. I said that in the last episode as well, but it's fact. You'd think the thing was pulled right out of that movie. But this thing is working for the Empire, essentially. Has led the Empire to them. It's also under control of the third sister, and sabotages the escape plan. So you've got the launch bay, and these blast doors close over the top of it. So the only person can get in there, small enough to get in there, is Princess Leia. So she spends most of the episode in there trying to fix the electricals so they can get out. By the time Obi-Wan goes to speak to the third sister, who is now head Inquisitor, or Chief Inquisitor, or whatever the heck the title is. But we, in this meeting between Obi-Wan and her, we get to find out her full backstory in this episode, and what happens to her at the end of this episode is she's been getting grief online for, I don't even know if I can say it on the channel anymore, but people are just attacking her appearance, let's just say that. And her acting abilities are phenomenal. There's a part in this episode, you'll know it as soon as you see it. The expression on her face, I got followed up. There was a tear in my eye. I was just like, this is so good. She acted that so well. They use, of course, a lot of cuts and whatnot earlier on in her life and whatnot, but that performance alone, where, let's just say, she regresses from the adult that she is to the kid that she used to be. Now, that's probably give it away for you if you haven't seen the episode, but definitely jump in there and check it out. Anyway, the other big thing in here is, we've all been waiting to see it. Hayden Christensen back as Anakin Skywalker / Darth Vader. We've seen glimpses of him in the series so far. Episode 2, there was a vision of him standing off in the distance as Anakin Skywalker, very briefly, very, very far off on screen, but it was definitely him. But in this episode, the dynamic here in this episode is the kind of like, not the power struggle between Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan, or Darth Vader and Obi-Wan, but there's been that aspect of Anakin's personality traits throughout his life, growing up, training with Obi-Wan, that are still in play to the present day, even now as Darth Vader. Some of the things that he would always have fallen for when he was training as a small kid up to adulthood and eventually getting to this point, is something that comes into play at the end of this episode. So we get a flashback sequence of Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi dueling each other, as in like a practice duel, training session, which is set in the time of Attack of the Clones. So we get to see Hayden Christensen in the exact costume from that movie, same hair, little man bun thing in the back, and they're dueling and whatnot. So, and that's good. That's a good throwback and a little bit of fan service there. But in all fairness, you can see the time on Hayden's face. He's not old, but he's not as young as he was in Attack of the Clones or indeed Revenge of the Sith. You do see the passage of time on his face, but it's phenomenal to see the two of these guys back on screen together, having that little duel, which is cut throughout the episode. Everything that's happening in the present day is kind of reflecting stuff that's happening in this duel that happened in the past. It's a phenomenal episode, and the bar is set incredibly high for the finishing of this season. Now, I did hear somewhere along the line, I don't know how true this is, so take it with a grain of salt, but apparently the runtime for episode 6 is out there, and rumour has it that it's going to be well over an hour long. I did hear something like an hour and a half long, but again, take that with a pinch of salt, because you know what the internet's like with rumours. But it could quite easily be, as I said in the last episode, there's so much potential that they could really stretch out for this series, and they could quite easily get an 8-parter out of this instead of a 6-parter. But it is what it is. I'm there to the bitter end. I'm absolutely adoring this series. It's been, for a series that I was kind of like, I don't know if this is going to be any good. Whenever I heard that it was coming, I'm absolutely loving it. The rewatchability factor is unreal. I'm probably going to go now that I've talked about episode 5. I might actually go sit down and watch it myself one more time. It's not a bad way to spend a night. Go get her watched, guys. You'll love it.